and Bucks. I did one of those things where you sort of bet something in the middle of the game. I almost got it, guys. I just wanted to share that. They didn't have Giannis, and they still beat the Clippers. Didn't matter. 6 straight for Milwaukee. Dame, 41-4-4. Portis off that bench with 28-16. Harden and PG, much better night this time, 29 points apiece. But the Bucks, since the All-Star break, are 6-0, and this is a good Clippers team, and they didn't have Giannis. So, Chandler, if you first, what has happened? What is the biggest difference now before we're sort of mocking Milwaukee?
Well, I think when you have a team with this much talent, that's why people are rolling their eyes when Doc Rivers says this is the hardest job he's going to take over. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. I'll take this job. This team is stacked. This team. What's funny is you keep saying no Giannis. There was also no Chris Middleton, and they were very shorthanded. And then it's Dame said before the game they were talking about it. They don't even talk about who's in, who's out. They just talked about what they have to do this night to win the game. And Bobby Portis went bananas. He looked like the best player on the floor for most times. Dame Lillard, we talked about how great of an all-star weekend he had. That looks like it's carried over since then. And this is one of those streaks where now all of a sudden, instead of talking about how bad of a job Doc's doing, they shouldn't fire Griffin, now we're talking about them possibly as contenders and real shots at knocking off the Celtics and getting to the finals. So it's funny how this happens. The league, you got to have a short-term memory, just like we had when the Clippers, when they made the trade for James Harden and they lose a couple in a row. Everyone panics why they do it. Then they kind of took off. The Bucks are kind of in that phase right now where they're starting to figure it out. They made great adjustments. I will say, Doc, if it was Pat Beverley, whoever, they fell to a zone last night. And the Clippers had a lead, and they started settling for these long jump shots, kind of broke their rhythm offensively. And that's the type of adjustment that this team needs. And because they know they have guys that can score, they have the Dame Lillard. Bobby Portis is giving you 28, 30 points, scoring inside out. Guys like Connaughton, Beasley, and those guys are picking up the slack, not making big plays down when Chris Middleton's out, when Giannis is out. This team is loaded, and they're deep, and they do have the talent and the potential to defend. So I think they're just starting to kind of create their identity and figure out who they are. And this team's a real threat. This team is a real threat. Obviously, with Giannis in the lineup is a whole nother level, but this team just showed you they can beat one of the better teams without even being fully loaded.
You talk about chemistry. Let's give Pat Bev his flowers. Like, I thought he was the MVP last night for that game, right? He was disruptive on defense. He was one of those guys that he was active, he was talkative, he was creating a lot of havoc on the defensive end, and he made open shots, and he was a threat on the offensive end, and that's something that he's not really known for. That's not really his MO, but he was able to do it on both ends of the floor. So when we start talking about this team's identity and them trying to figure it out, I think now everybody is starting to settle in. Everybody's starting to settle in what needs to be done. Then they're putting it all on the table, and they got a big win without two of their all-star guys, even though they still had an all-star in the game. They played with just enough, and everybody stepped up and played their roles.
Guys, is it possible? I mean, I know we just sort of take some of these things that coaches do, and I don't know how effective it all is, but Doc did sort of question the toughness of this team right when he got there, talking about some are there, some are in Cabo, all that good stuff. Do you guys take that to heart and react to it, or nothing, Lou? And what did you think? Does this have something to do with it?
No, that's not a thing. Chandler will tell you as well. Listen, the coaches before All-Star break, every coach is going to blame a bad game on guys being checked out for All-Star break, or they'll probably even say before the game, hey, listen, I know you guys are ready to go on break for 2.5 hours, just lock in and you can go where and do whatever you want. So this is a normal thing. So him challenging them or saying that half of them were checked out, half of them were there, that's the norm. I think Doc has gotten an opportunity to start putting his pieces together. He's starting to find a rhythm with how he want to coach, how he thinks this team should play to give them the best opportunity to win games. And I think that's what we're seeing, but I don't think that's a big thing.
Yeah, every coach that has a good team that plays a bad team before All-Star break calls it a trap game because of that reason. They know they're figuring out plans. They know they have the next week off. They're booking hotels, flights, everything like that. And it's just that's what a coach does. They try and push you. They try and just basically reinforce, like, hey, 48 minutes and then go do what you got to do. And it's hard. It's difficult. A lot of times you say you're going to lock in, but that's that time where everything's kind of getting slower and you don't want to go to shoot around. The film session's pissing you off because it's so long. So that's, to me, I don't think that's like this pivotal moment that Doc Rivers sparked the locker room by challenging their toughness. I just think they're extremely talented. They're extremely good. And it was only a matter of time till they started figuring it out. Now, Doc making the adjustments of the ATOs and the going to zone and when to play man and when to switch, that's critical for them going forward.
I know, but you guys know as viewers, we love a dramatic locker room speech, at least the idea of it. We live for it. They got the 2 seed, Chandler, and Cavs are there, but they've been a little bit wonky lately. How important is it Milwaukee stay there?
Well, I think it's important, but also looking at the Eastern Conference, it's not like the West. Like the Eastern Conference, you get the 2 seed to play in, you're looking at the Miami Heat and the Pacers. So it's important, I guess, and it's hard to predict. But again, it's not like these are going to shuffle around so much. But if I'd rather play the Magic than the Heat or the Pacers. So there's so much basketball left that teams are going to prepare to win as many games as possible, and then maybe kind of do the Mark Cuban thing last year and sit and choose and kind of look at matchups. But we can say that now. He's not the owner anymore. He doesn't care, Michelle.
It's a great point. And they already paid the fine.
Yeah, he already.
And they got the pick. And they got the pick.
So they're good.
It worked out. I do think there's so much basketball now, and I do think the Milwaukee Bucks are a better basketball team than the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I do think they're going to hold on to that 2 seed, but that might not be a great thing if the 3 seed gets the Magic and they end up with the Heat in the first round. That'd be a real kick in the D.
A kick in the D indeed. That would suck. Shams, we saw Giannis out there. He was testing out the Achilles, and then it was basically a no-go right before game time. Do you have the latest news? How's he looking?
The Bucks aren't seeming overly worried about this situation. It's Achilles soreness that they're describing it as. He tried to warm up, as we see there, couldn't play, couldn't really manage that pain to be able to get out there and play. But the Bucks have to take a cautious approach. They've already done so with Chris Middleton. He's missed the last month, as Chandler just said, with that ankle sprain. The hope is that he's going to be back sooner than later, but they're being safe with Chris Middleton. I'm not sure when he's going to be back, hopefully over the next week or so. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo obviously sat last night with that Achilles soreness. We'll see if he'll be out there for the next game.
That's such a weird movement.
I wasn't worried till I saw that clip.
Yeah, that seems worrisome, guys.
That's just like a normal jumper, and he's doing that. That's. I think it's smart to sit him down. Again, this is a team that is a real contender with them, and we're getting down to the nitty gritty here where they need him fully healthy. But that doesn't look good. He can't even take a standstill jumper. There was no shot he was playing.
Yeah, maybe I'm silly, but Lude, I don't know. It seems like the video is a little bit not great.
Yeah. It looks a little alarming, but Chandler, this is also fresh out of the car, just now getting your body warmed up. Your adrenaline's not rolling.
Did you say fresh out of the car?
Yeah, this is at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, this is
or his car. Yeah. Okay.
This is early. Listen, so before you get going, a lot of times you feel like I might not be able to go tonight, but once you start getting the sweat going, your adrenaline's rolling a little bit. I can tough through this and I can fight through this pain. So I think the Milwaukee Bucks, they're just ironing on the side of caution and just not making this worse. It might not be a big of a deal as it looked right there. That clip was kind of alarming, but once you get growing, once you get rolling and ready to go for a game, he probably could have played if he really wanted to. Who knows?
Shams, I think
the whole time during the game.
That is true, and he did walk off and whatever. But I feel like that's for like Shams, you and I, and civilians. Like when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think of is, ugh, I can't face the day, and I just want to go back to sleep. But then you get up and the adrenaline starts flowing, and you're like, crush that. Okay, I'm with you, Lou. We got you.